That cogwheels. All right. Hello, good people. I am so excited today, and I literally want to steal Coach Dawnielle. Coach, she goes by Coach Dawnielle. She is everything to many, many different women. And to me, I'm a new fan. We had met through my first guest of Lockdown Love while we were in lockdown, and that is Paul Brunson. And Paul Brunson had done a special sales panel and got together. I happened to be on this panel, Coach Dawnielle, Jonathan Sprinkles, and we did have another gentleman. Oh, my name is it's releasing me now, but I want to honor him too. I'll remember it before the end of this this lockdown love. But Coach Dawnielle is a wonderful entrepreneur, and I'm just going to introduce her to you. I'll allow her to introduce herself. So, Coach, tell the lovely people who you are and what you do.
You know, I'm just someone who loves, I'm going to be honest, I'm a fan of women. And all
You
my life,
are.
I've seen great women. I've seen, my grandmother, and I've been even honored to spend time with my great grandmother and my mother. And my mother had a bevy of sisters who raised me very, very well. And they taught me everything from how to read and how to tie my shoes, and more importantly, how to love myself. And so I'm a fan of women, and I know women have amazing capabilities. And I just want to
Yes.
show them what they're capable of, because the world doesn't always show them the value of what they bring to the table. So I think that's important.
100%. I did notice that you, with everything that you've done, sisterhood, that was sort of in my later questions. But since we're going there and you brought it up, sisterhood is so important to you. Is that likely because, again, you have been surrounded by very strong women? And question, Coach, were these women who struggled, or did you have examples of women who were very successful? Because whatever you did, you ended up becoming the you were the vice president at JB Morgan at one point.
So the odd thing, and I'm just starting a watch party real quick. I
Sure.
was
Yes.
blessed to be around women who measured success differently. So they
Okay.
weren't financially astute, they weren't entrepreneurs, they just worked real hard, but they also taught me, just that I was worthy. And that looks a lot differently to a lot of different people. But they also told me, taught me not to settle, whether it be in love or life, and that you can have what you want, regardless as to what other people say. So they weren't successful in the contemporary, meaning of the word, but
Sure.
they led successful lives, and they were happy, always amazingly joyful and laughing. And even to this day, like when I get with my family, my face hurts.
Oh, that's so great. So you raised in humble beginnings? Can we talk a little bit about your path from growing up to, I don't know whether that's in poverty or lower income or middle income, to then becoming the, vice president at JB Morgan. What was that path like? If you can just kind of summarize that.
So, let's just be honest, we were broke.
Okay.
But we were super poor. Like we always used to say, we were poorer than the church mice, right?
Okay.
But we didn't know it. I didn't have a reference point, because to
Okay.
me, coming up where we were, everybody was poor. There were very few differences between the haves and the have-not. Your mama job may be a little more stable. Your dad may have a decent factory job, but for the most part, we all were very, very, very close to abject poverty. Always had enough to eat, but the way we lived, we didn't think it was anything wrong with it. Everything was hand me down.
Sure.
Um, Everybody ate out of the same pot. My grandma was always inviting people to eat. People were always dropping off food if they had extra. We didn't think it was anything wrong with it. Government cheese, we came up with government cheese. We thought that was part of life, you know?
Yeah.
And so to really, when I started to work at the bank and realized that there were people that had just so much money, you had to count the commas.
Oh my
And never
goodness.
eat.
Okay.
I mean, like literally, how much is it Like you on the calculator trying to figure out how to tell these people what their balance is. I never even knew that kind of wealth existed. So to know that that existed, number one, that was eye opening.
So
And
did
then
you start as a teller and worked your way?
I
What's that
started customer
story?
service
On the phone.
on the phones.
And what year? I know you don't want to date yourself. I don't want to date myself either. But let's go back to that year. How long ago was
It
that?
was just last year. No, I'm just I'm just playing. I'm gonna throw y'all off. No, I actually started April 1st, 1999.
Okay, that was the year after my daughter was a year old. I gave birth to my daughter at 98. So 99 you started. Now, had you gone to college given that you grew
Yeah.
up in so you didn't go to college?
No, ma'am. I now have 2 degrees, but at that point, I hadn't gone to college at all. I was always taught working hard was enough.
Great. And and
Work
and you
hard, get
proved
good grades.
that. So you worked hard. So you started there, you worked your way up all the way to vice president. Was that a 5-year path, 10-year path? Were you a fast
15,
tracker?
15 years. That's fast track in corporate America.
Okay, fast
Matter
tracking.
of fact, maybe made it a year 13, year 14, because I left at year 16. I left a day before my 16th year anniversary.
And when did you decide or realize that you wanted to become an entrepreneur? And I also want to talk to you about what does that mean to you? What does entrepreneurship mean to you? And what got you interested in that?
So to be honest, I don't know that if I ever decided that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I just decided that I didn't want to be cheated anymore. And I'm going to
Okay.
tell you just a couple of things that I saw. I would launch multi-million dollar campaigns and get pennies on the dollar in return. I would do the job of people making triple and quadruple of what I make and get pennies on the dollars. And even bonuses that I thought was a lot of money, I would see somebody else's bonus and realize that they were bonusing what I made in a year. And I
Yeah.
know they couldn't have been working harder because I know we were there through major mergers, major acquisitions. I ran sales teams. I ran the first work from home remote access team. So I was over a major projects and things that really moved the needle in our part of the bank. But how could these people be making so much more than me? And I just didn't feel like I had to keep asking that. I felt if I can do this for you, I can do this for myself.
Now, being raw and in where we're at right now and what's going on in the world, do you believe that part of that lack of compensation had to do with A, you being female, and B, possibly that you were a Black female? Did that have anything to do with the compensation plan, or was that just the way the compensation plan existed at that time?
I mean, we just have to be brutally honest. It's
Yeah.
always that.
Okay.
It's always that. Men traditionally make way more money than women. If you look at even the global statistics on men and women have 10% of the world's wealth and 1% of the world's land. So that means
Wow.
men have nine. Even if you look at the Forbes list of the top men and the top women, there's almost always a 90% difference. Talking, the top man may have 100 billion and the top woman may have 10. The
Got you.
second man may have 50 billion, but the top woman may only have 5. So these differences, they are consistent within our culture. And a lot of it comes down to, number one, we don't know how to ask for more. And number two, we don't know how to demand more. And in corporate America, when you demand more, you quickly become an angry Black woman.
Got it.
And it's that stigma of, I know you're cheating me. How do I broach this conversation without pointing a finger or seeming like I'm jealous of somebody else, which I'm not? You pay him a lot. Okay, great. Good for him. Just want to be able to have that same for my family. Don't act
Sure.
as if my family or my familial commitments are less than yours because I'm a woman and he's a man.
Yeah, and this is the struggle, right? We're talking about equality, equality in the workplace, equality based on race, equality based on, you know, gender, all of those things. Did that make it easier for you to pivot and to change? Like, what was it that had you leave this vice president role to what you're doing now? Is what you're doing now different than, or is it just, has it evolved? What was your first step?
So, there was a combination of two different things that made me eventually say, I've got to do something different. Number one was I divorced my husband. I'd been married almost 16 years. And, two incomes minus one income equals not enough. I had just had twins.
Okay.
The twins were born in 96. No, Tyler was born in 96. The twins were born in 97. So when you
So
had
you were a young mom when you started at the bank in a customer service role.
which
So
was
were you still struggling at, like, would you have considered yourself struggling at that time with a young family entering a entry level bank job?
no, when I went to the bank, that was intentional. I was still married. He made great money. I
Okay.
left the job making great money and said, let me just get something, where I can work a few hours and spend more time with the girls. The twins were really, really small. They were like 6 pounds when they were born. And I just really wanted to have that life where I didn't have this corporate responsibility,
Yes.
over my head. I wanted to go somewhere and just do some work and go home. Do some
Okay.
work and go home, And the extra at that time was supposed to have been, college funds and different things like that. And it ended up being the fact that I eventually I had to work and I had to figure it out.
And when you mentioned in your biography, as I've promoted it, you at some point were a single mom. How young were the kids and how long were you single that you were doing that?
So I want to say, it hasn't been that long. I want to say 2010.
Okay.
2010. So the girls were probably about 13, 14. They were teenagers.
So you have 3 children, then they're all girls?
I have 3 children. No, Tyler is the
Okay.
oldest, and then Hope and Faith.
Okay.
So, Faith
Oh,
and
wonderful
Faith,
names.
they're
I'm
wonderful
sure they
girls.
live up to them. I'm sure they
They
live up to
do.
them.
They do. They are
Amazing.
polar opposites.
So your eldest is your boy and then
Mhm.
twin girls.
Absolutely.
So you were a single mom. Can you said to me, you could ask me anything. So I'm gonna just go there because I'm a matchmaker. And I went through a divorce in 97 when my children were still relatively young. My daughter was 8 at the time, and my son was about 2. So they were still quite young. When did you realize that the marriage wasn't working for you? And
Girl, you want the tea?
I'll spill the tea.
So to be honest, this is real tea.
Yeah,
Real
okay.
tea is our official divorce was 1997. We
Okay.
got back together.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
So, okay.
So I
And
realized it back in 1997. But girl, I was like, girl, it's too hard by myself. How am I gonna be out here? How am I gonna be
oh, so
on this
are you with
tour bus?
is the relationship you're in now, the father?
No, I
Okay.
eventually ended up, it wasn't right way back
It
in
wasn't the
96.
right.
When you
Okay.
left, I should have left for good, but I didn't for
Okay.
all the wrong reasons. Wanted to stay for the kids and
Sure.
wanted to stay because it was comfortable. Just really didn't want that struggle life. But
And
eventually,
so many women go through that. And I'm sure in your coaching practice, do you also end up breaking through and giving dating advice because you've got these women that are kind of like figuring out the money situation and now they want to figure out the man situation? What's that like?
me and my clients, we talk about literally everything. It's almost impossible because earning more money is not strategy. Earning more money is earning more love, care, and appreciation for what you bring to the table. So it's
Okay.
not strategy. That's a infinitesimal amount what has to happen to your mind in order for you to make an enormous amount of money, especially if you never have or if you grew up without it. So there has to be this mental shift. And so me and my clients, we talk about everything because it's that mindset shift. And you have to have a people around you that value you. So if you're in a relationship that does not value you,
Right.
you can't disassociate from that relationship and then go to a business and expect to earn money.
Because what's what you're accepting in your love life and is also a reflection of your own worth and value.
Absolutely.
And okay, makes perfect sense.
And some people can be an albatross around your neck. Like, I've already got this crazy chick in my head talking crazy to me from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed. Like, I don't need no help. You know what I'm saying? She goes at it. And then I know women, you get that. People call it monkey mind, and people call it self-talk, whatever you want to call it. This chick, she rattles on and on and on. So she doesn't need a peanut gallery. She doesn't need a hype crew to tell me anything else. And so when you have somebody that's not 100% behind you, supportive, they're gonna have a conversation with her.
That's so good. That is so good. What has been the biggest shift or change that you've experienced during this pandemic? And on that note, what are many of your clients struggling with right now in this time?
My biggest shift was having to support everybody else.
Okay.
I'm a homebody. This is what we do. I've been in front of this camera at home for the last 6, 7, 8, 9 years. I've been getting my groceries delivered. I've been ordering from Amazon 2 or 3 times a day. I mean, like, nothing big in my life changed, but I had to get my clients acclimated to being at home. Really, the family worried about my kids going to college and being out in the world and trying to keep them at home. So I think the biggest shift I experienced was calming everybody else down and helping my clients understand that, they may say that it's bad in terms of the economy, but somebody just understand and be clear that everybody's money is not wiped out. So, we're going to move forward, and we're probably, hey, Carolyn, we're probably going to move out of this better than we moved in, and take this time to sit and think and really come out of this understanding what you want. Because we ain't sit still and alone. We as a race, we as the human race, we haven't sat still in a long time.
Sure. Have you taken some time to reflect or to slow down, or because you're supporting so many people, are you finding that you're just in overdrive? How are you managing that, being this, the hub for so many people?
So one thing that I advocate to my clients, and one thing that I'm very fastidious about myself is, and I'm getting much, much better at it, is that you have to, as a leader, take care of yourself. And even my therapist pointed out, she said, when's the last time? And it's been a decade. It's been a decade since I have literally just turned it off for a long time. And so it's coming. I'm getting everybody else situated and getting my teams and tools in place. And my goal was actually to retire this year. I may not make it this year, but I'm definitely going to have the tools and the teams in place to be able to call my own shots in the year to come, and put these big old feet up somewhere and slow down. So it's a work in progress, and we're working on it hard. We just brought a new sales team on board today. We're bringing on a new team of VAs next week. And so you just keep plugging away at it till you don't have to show up every day.
That's amazing. I want to shift to a little bit of relationship chat. Would you just say that you are an alpha female, and what does that mean to you? Do you work with a lot of alpha females?
I am an alpha female. I definitely am an alpha female, but I'm different because I don't feel competition from I love women so much. You can put me in a room with a million alpha females, and I know how to play my position. I don't go in trying to I understand whose party it is. I'm not gonna go try to, be the life of the party. I'm gonna play my part. Nobody move, nobody get hurt. So
Right.
but I'm definitely an alpha female.
Now, we talked a little bit before this.
You see, I'm smiling because I know what you're finna bring up. And
Well,
he's gonna be in here in a minute because it's date night.
oh, is it? Oh, good.
And
You look
every night
amazing.
around this time is date night.
That is amazing. What's it like? So a lot of alpha female, they do like alpha males, but sometimes that energy, combined is very conflicting. Tell me about how you navigate that, and what advice would you give to women who are looking for that alpha man, but often get caught up in the power struggle?
Old school people used to say, you gotta let a man be a man.
Yes.
And they meant another thing. They meant, girl, he can stay out all night. I don't mean it. I don't mean that at all. But I do mean that in terms of making decisions, we gotta sometimes play the princess, and it's okay. Men are hunter gatherers. They're
Yes.
protectors. That's their essence. And so when you run around protecting yourself, you don't give him an opportunity to protect you. When you run around and I know we're conditioned, either in previous relationships or conditioned because we've never had anybody around us to take care of us. But I want you ladies to watch. I want you to watch how one man will be totally different with one woman and get with somebody else and be him. He never cooked, washed clothes, he never cleaned up before me. Everybody before me treated him like a king, and he is a king. But that don't mean you can't clean up, king. That don't mean you can't get in where you fit in, king. And we've got to stop thinking that certain roles, you know, make a man less of a man. A man washing dishes is still a man if he's an alpha male.
Sure.
He wash them dishes and then he go. So we have a great relationship that he does what he needs to do, but he is still the boss.
Yeah, and you're acknowledging him as that, and he's able to take on these quote unquote domestic responsibilities. Although nowadays, I mean, king or queen, you both live in the house, so you both share those types of responsibilities. But did you need to have that conversation with him, or was that just you? Were you one of the lucky ones? And let's talk about the women that maybe with a guy that has these traditional views that, well, that's not my role. Is it just about meeting somebody that like agrees with you? Because I mean, I'm a matchmaker, so we talk about compatibility, we talk about roles, and sometimes people enter these relationships without having these discussions. So would you have this discussion with your partner if there was something he was not doing, or if there was something that you needed him to do?
I think that women sometimes give away our power by just assuming that men won't do certain things. So I think there's two different situations. One where he really is, just opposed. Women should, women should, women should. You need to have that conversation with him before y'all get together, because
Right.
getting with him is not going to change that. But a lot of these men they don't hold that hard and fast of view. It's just that they're shaped by previous relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And so you call the ground rules for your relationship when you come to the table. And if everybody else before you spoiled him and you just don't do it, he'll be okay.
Got it.
I'm telling
Well,
you got to play that helpless role sometimes. We're not strong women think that saying I need help is weak, but it's not. Saying I need help is strength. You know,
very, very. I was going to say that. What are some of the biggest mistakes that you've seen single women make when it comes to dating? And I'm asking you because you don't work with. I mean, you work with lots of women, but the majority of the women that you work with are already very successful women. They are killing it at their craft, but maybe in their love life, not the same. So what are some of those mistakes? Is that one of them? Not, afraid to be vulnerable?
Afraid to be vulnerable, or this is a trajectory that we need to shift for all of womankind. Feel like we got to do whatever to get a man. Feel like we have to compromise. I got to compromise my standards. If I don't sleep with him, he ain't. If I don't do this, and we end up giving ourselves over too fast. You giving a man a bubble bath the first night, and you cooking dinner for him every day, and there's
putting your best lingerie, like it's just all out on the table.
There's nothing left to his imagination. There's nothing left for him to pursue. There's nothing left for him to go after, and so you wonder why he leave you so quick. But girl, you gave up the game. There's no, and I'm not even just talking about sexually. Just there's no sport there for him.
Right. And it's important that I love that you say that, because a lot of times I think that comes from fear-based, right? Women thinking that, well, if I don't do this, there's 100 other women that are going to fall at his feet, or that sort of thing. But is that not more about like your self-worth and your value, knowing that you're the prize?
Absolutely. Like, speaking of, no, I didn't. I do.
There's the king.
There's the king.
There's the king. He knows we're talking about him.
No,
all good things.
Ask me, did I get my coffee?
Oh, there you go.
So sweet. Yeah.
So yes, we were talking about, women doing too much or compromising themselves
too early. Yeah. But you know what? A lot of that comes from, you said fear, and it's fear and an embodiment of lack of confidence.
Right. Well, a lot of women try to justify. A lot of women try to justify or ask the question, if it's romantic and it's hot and it's lustful, like, is it okay to sleep with them on the first date? I know what I want to say, but have you run into women that might have asked you this question, or what has been your experience in talking to women about sleeping with a guy on the first night? What advice would you give to that person?
So I don't necessarily think that's the only problem.
Sure.
That's not the only. Your problem is, how much do you love yourself? Are you doing this because it's what you want to do, or are you doing this because you think this was going to get him? Because this is not what's going to get him. Right. It's how you answer that phone when he calls, or don't answer sometimes. It's, it's all of that. You can ask him that same, we had that same, issue when we got together, but you don't chase, you let them do the running. So, we just have to
I get a lot of that. Sometimes women, they'll ask me advice and say, should I text him? I haven't heard from him in a little while. Like, what's the right thing to do? And I do believe that, you don't always have to strategize communication. However,
I do. Now,
you do. Okay, go ahead. Sure.
Because if we don't, we'll give ourselves over to our inklings and our desires. And sometimes you just got to be a little smarter than that knee jerk. We got to think it out. Okay. Because they operate totally different.
But do you not agree, Coach, that sometimes women they're stressing about something, or they're overthinking a situation, and he's not even thinking about that? Like, you're maybe on different wavelengths.
I agree, yes, and I agree no. Because when he finally does think about it, what happens when he does call? Because back when me and him got together, there was no caller ID. So he went a couple of days and then called me. And when he did call, I would be like, oh, hey, how you doing? I would talk. And I would be like, I'm sorry, who is this?
Oh, goodness.
It's Troy, man.
Wait, you did that. Wait, you did that on purpose?
I did it on purpose.
Okay. All right. There you go, ladies. I'm sorry. Who's this?
Keep doing it. And guess what started happening?
What happened?
Started calling more and more. And then he started calling as soon as he got up every morning.
I think part of that is because you're a high quality, and you've presented yourself to be a high status woman, or maybe a little. Men want somebody who's a little bit unattainable, not just will drop everything to be
Exactly.
with them, right? So, and that's what I want to move to is, what do you believe are important qualities to find in a life partner? And what do you think of women who think they're settling when they can't find a man who's in the same income bracket? Because it seems that for women, what they really prioritize or put a lot of weight to is how much money a man makes. And I'm speaking to you because you're a 7-figure businesswoman, and you've helped a lot of women reach that 7-figure business potential. Are they now only seeking 7-figure business earners, so that if you're earning 250, you have to date someone 250? And I'm curious to know that, because as a matchmaker, I often do work with men and women that are high net worth, 7-figure business, or high 6 figures. And men don't always have that. In fact, men very rarely have the same income requirement. Whereas on the opposite of that, I do find women being far pickier about how much money a man makes.
Hmm. I think that when it comes to important life qualities in a partner, I think that everybody owes it to themselves to take the time to take stock in what's important to them, because we're all very, very different. And women also have a big confusion about what's attractive to men and what we do for other women, because men don't care about all this, and men really don't care how much you make, and they really don't care about the high heels. They really don't care about the makeup, because if they see that effervescence of you loving yourself, then that's what they tend to gravitate towards. Girl, that's
Yes, it's very attractive for a man when they see when they are with a confident woman. Makeup or no makeup, like it's the same thing. Yeah, makeup or no makeup. In fact, does your man, you're often very, your camera ready, but your man loves you. It sounds like he loves you whether you got the camera on, the makeup on or not.
He does.
That's
He's
amazing.
very he's very cavemanish. She mine. She mine. I'm over here there with his stuff. So that's my cars. Those are my cars. And that's
Sure.
my dog. And that's my woman. That's mine's. And he said with a Z, you mine's. You know. So he's very
Well,
possessive. Not
to,
in a jealous or, but it's cute. It's cute that you put me in your pile of stuff.
Sure, but and to that point, however, although when you're trying to make that impression, and I'm not sure if you work with women on the area of, like, all areas, whether it's branding, presentation,
Absolutely.
visuals.
That's
You and
important for
I,
me.
you and I had that conversation about sales and what we're looking to attract. And there was one person that Paul gave an example to, saying, "Well, I'm organic and I'm raw and I want people to see me without any makeup because that's who I am." And yet, when it comes to online dating and looking to attract that man, it's one thing when he's already knows who you are. But if you're showing up in it without looking as if you've made that effort, that's where I believe and feel that a curated and presentation, particularly for the first time, because men are extremely visual. What's your comment towards that? If someone were putting themselves online, would you say lead with the bare face, or lead with something that is more reflective of what you would look like when you're making an effort?
Girl, my man and his bull mastiff go in and out that door. So every now and then a fly gets in here.
Okay.
You see me swatting, I'm not waving.
All right. All right. Okay. No worries.
But here's the thing. We have to be honest. There's a difference between natural and raggedy.
Got you. Yes.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
There's a difference between I'm gonna show up and be myself, natural, nice shirt, nice slacks, nice shoes. And I'm gonna show up like in this jogging suit with these flip-flops on and this t-shirt that, that commercial where the guy's collar is like laying all to the side. There's a difference. You
Yeah.
know, so men don't mind natural, but men don't like raggedy. And there is a difference. There's a
Sure.
big difference. So
But
you
when
can't just say, I'm gonna wake up and not comb my hair and jump in this Zoom, you know, versus, yeah, you didn't just leave the hair shop, but you combed your hair's clean. There's a difference.
sure.
You know,
But
and some men don't like you to show up with all the makeup and all, but they want you to show up, baby, with your hair combed and your face clean. And it's a difference.
right. And that's sometimes the concern that women have, because I work with a lot of single women and clients, and we do makeovers. I've seen, and sometimes their presentation before, it's not terrible, but I'm looking to elevate that and have them stand out. So maybe rather than the black dress that they put on, they've got a red dress or a pink dress or something that pops, that so that they're noticed amongst the crowd. It doesn't mean they need to wear makeup, but it's definitely the difference between a man swiping left and right when the only decision that they're making online typically is your visual cue.
But even your visual cue, even a photo embodies how you feel about yourself.
Sure.
So a lot of times
Exactly.
when I do brand makeovers for my clients and we bring them in and we get to put the makeup on them and put them in front of the camera, because they feel so much better about themselves.
Yes.
There's a whole different presentation that happens. So even when I take photo shoots, when I'm out with my team, and depending on the outfit, depending on the makeup, that photo is going to just burst off of the page because I'm excited. You know,
Yes.
I may love the outfit or love the dress or love the visuals. I may love the color. So a lot of that still has to do with our internal, tuning our internal
Mm-hmm.
to be more attractive externally. But I
So
don't think
you
that
do
all has to do with
you
it.
do work, you do photo shoots and you do branding. What are the questions that you ask women to consider as they choose their outfit or as they choose their colors? How do you determine the final look? I'm curious to know your process when a woman is relying on you to tell her story through her images. What are the things that you consider?
You know, first and foremost, you know, letting them know the sky's the limit. We always learn in corporate America to dress for where you want to be, not for where you are. And I remember always wearing suits because that was the image I wanted to portray. So even on Fridays when it was jean day, I wore suits. And that's how I got invited to different meetings, because if my boss was out of office on a Friday, guess who he would send in his place? The person that he knew had a suit on.
So good.
Right? So you
Yeah.
dress for where you want to be. And that sometimes that dress, even around the house, and this is something I had to remind my clients during the pandemic, is get up and get dressed.
Yes.
Girl, get up and get dressed like you going out the door. Now, I've worked in this house for 6 years, but I gets up and Carmelia, before most people are out of the bed, I am fully dressed in front of my
Yes.
computer working as if I commuted an hour. You know,
Right.
get up and get dressed. It does something for your mindset. It
You
does
mean
something.
that by 11 o'clock when in my PJs, that's impacting my mental wellness?
Not everybody, if that's your choice, but
Yeah.
me, I know what, first of all, I'm live most days before 5:30.
Okay. 5:30
So
a.m.
5:30 a.m.
You're live. Okay. And who are you live to?
I'm live to my audience. That's how we grew to over 200,000 followers, because you know what? I'm gonna go live when the news on. And if
Got
you're
you.
not careful, I'll be back before 7:30. And I
Right.
might be back again at 11. And girl, I might be talking to you at midnight. Tell my girl, what y'all doing? So it's one of those things that I know that you can't, this is an environment you can't saturate.
Right.
You
No,
can
and
go
that's great. It sounds to me in your bio that you saw the opportunity to do video and live streaming. There was, here it is. I'm going to put this down. Known as the Harriet Tubman of the internet age, her digital marketing and live stream skills put her in a position to serve thousands of individuals yearly with your message of financial empowerment. When did you discover the power of video? Were you an early adopter, and had you always had this presence? Because Paul Brunson said, Man, I saw Danielle on the stage and he's a great speaker, but he's like, that is a tough act to follow. So is that just what your mama gave you? Like, talk to me about that skill set.
I think everybody's skill set, while purposeful and from God and very intentional as to who he wanted you to be, also has this level of the 10,000 hour rule.
Okay.
What have you done repeatedly? I think Malcolm Gladwell talks about in a tipping point, 10,000 hours to perfect your craft. So it's not just, are you good at it? Michael Jordan was good at it. He practiced and got great at it. What does it require for you to become the GOAT? Will you read the books? Will you do the study? Will will you do the investigations? Will you do the research? So it's not just, are you good? It's how much are you willing to practice to be the best? And there's a difference between the two. And so I was definitely an early adopter. I've been on live stream since before Facebook Live. Let me tell you that.
Where did you do that?
Periscope.
Periscope. Okay.
Absolutely. Remember they had Meerkat. What's it called? Something.
That's one social platform I had not adopted. There are so many, things that, like, Vine was in and out. That was for kids. Snapchat is something that's now TikTok. Are you a TikToker? Like, what?
I don't TikTok at all.
Okay.
I have about 40,000 followers on Periscope though. And one thing we found over the years is that they spend money.
Okay. So is Periscope an income earning platform?
So I earn income over there. I'm not waiting on a sponsorship or residual. Okay. You can get money if they do hearts for you, but I haven't even cashed my hearts in. So the funny part about it is Facebook Live wasn't around.
Right.
I don't think Instagram had been acquired by, Instagram wasn't hot back then. It wasn't.
Right. Are you doing more live streams now on Instagram, or like, where is your go-to live stream platform now? Is it on your Facebook?
We still do Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, and then I do Instagram Live on my phone.
Got you. Okay. So we simulcast. And people for those who are not into video, what advice can you tell them and information can you share about getting on the video train?
So the amazing thing about it is there's still room for early adopters. There's still room to be the first in your business. Who is the biggest, wedding planner guru right now? Who is the biggest do-it-yourselfer right now? There's still room in a whole lot of categories for people to be the first and for them to go out and build these mega audiences. And the one thing I can tell them is to fight the fear. It's to confront the monster. And I remember, let's just be honest, I'm not super thin. I mean, hello.
Yeah.
And
BBW.
And I can always remember saying, people are not going to listen to me. And having to overcome that conversation with myself and saying, well, they listen to you in corporate America. Well, this video is different. Okay, what's different about it? Right? Some people are not going to, and that has to be okay. Because God didn't create you for everybody. And you're not going to ever have everybody.
Shout out to Jennifer King. She freed me after 33 years of working someone else's land a job. Oh my goodness. Do you know Jennifer?
I do.
All right. You got a lot of fans here. They're all saying hello, Ava. Hello, Marva. Hello, Desiree.
Hey, guys.
Nicholas, my partner. Thanks for tuning in. She's just dropping tons of nuggets here. Speaking of which, sisterhood. I'll go back to that question. So important to you. Dawnielle, how do you choose your inner circle? And how do you know when it's time to unfriend or unfollow someone? I'd love to know if there's a litmus test that you have for who should stay in your circle and who do you connect with?
So the funny thing is, it goes back to that question. And because I'm an only child, I don't have anybody who by blood has to tolerate me, right? So I've always been a big people gatherer.
Okay.
My mom says it from the playground, I'm going to be the one who's friends with everybody. I think that everybody can play. I don't think we should restrict anybody because of, and I give women grace. And for the most part, I don't put people out. I don't unfriend people.
Okay.
I'm very big on loyalty. So it takes a lot for me to not give you grace. So I don't run through people. My community is very solid. It's been around for years. Anybody's welcome to come and play. I believe in women giving other women grace and really understanding, girl, she not rolling your eyes. She not rolling her eyes at you. She having a bad day.
Have you not had to, not police, but have you not had to, working with so many women, like deal with a misunderstanding or
Oh yeah,
be
all
the
right.
coach and be, because I mean, this is great that everyone can play. And frankly, I mean, I have two brothers. I'm from a very, very big family, but many, siblings or sorry, only childs, they tend to be, and I'm kind of typecasting. It's obviously a generalization. I've experienced that they don't typically have such a big circle, whereas you're talking about, I want to play with everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Everybody, my friend. So, it's funny that, and it may be a God thing because, I want to heal the relationships with women and I have to police a lot.
I did too. I ran a call center with all women, and I think I was putting out fires at least twice a week, if not every day. There was some kind of confusion or miscommunication between women. So I'd love to hear how you're able to play with all people. What skill set does that require?
I'm just gonna be brutally honest. I'm the
Yes.
biggest fool of all.
Okay.
You don't bring your foolishness over here, you're not gonna catch a bigger fool than me.
All
So
right.
we can either play and get along, or you can see that fool I got in the bag. I mean, and it's your choice. Because I'm absolutely convicted in the point that we must get along, and I don't vacillate from it. What you will never hear, and see, leadership has a lot to do with it. What you will never hear is my condemnation of another woman's clothes, my condemnation of another woman's hair. I'm not gonna talk. We don't talk each other's business. We're not gonna talk about whose husband is cheating on them or whose child is gone.
So you don't participate in gossip. That sounds like a rule. Okay. Okay.
You cannot.
All
Because
right.
if you let it happen one time, if you condone it one time, if you advocate it one time, it's over. So you got to put your foot down. And we got to understand we're here to eat. We're not here to talk about each other, and nobody's better than anybody else. We're here to get this work.
So that's where you put your foot down, is really not listening to the gossip that might come to you and putting a hard line in that. Is that correct?
It's not even about not even listening to what comes to you. We don't advocate it at all. You can't gossip nowhere to nobody in this community. And it is a hard and fast rule that I can forgive anything other than theft and lies and gossip. And so we just and people learn early.
I love that. Okay, that's great. Now you've written in your bio, you've written 14 books. What inspires you, and what are your books about? And if what should I read? I'm a matchmaker, as you know, and a connector. So what's a book have you written a book on connection, or are all your books about sales? Tell me about that.
Girl, I wrote a book about everything. I got a couple books. One's called Design Your Man. I'm gonna send you a copy in the mail.
Yes.
But
okay.
It's about reticular activation and really knowing what you want before you pick the man, because if not, you're going to keep picking the same man over and over and over because you don't reset you and what you expect. But I love relationship books. I love The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. I actually saw him speak one time.
That's great.
What else do I love? What should you? Now I read a lot. Now the 14 books, girl, that's just books.
That's what my next question is. What kind of books do you read?
These are all workbooks that I've created. These are not even on Amazon. We just sell these at expos. This one's about PR, and this one's about giving yourself a business assessment. So I have about 30 of these that I've created. Everything from prayer journals to 30 days of thanks and all of that. But I read business books.
Okay.
Right now, I can tell you what I'm reading right now. Todd Herman,
Okay.
the Alter Ego book. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he's beyond.
Yeah, I've seen him speak live. He was at a mastermind summit, and he talked about the alter ego. And I do have the Cole's notes of it, and I'd love to know who's your alter ego.
Girl, her name
Are
is
you
Shiro.
creating one?
Her name is Shiro, and she wear these glasses right here.
Okay.
Her name is Shiro because she is my hero.
I
And she's
love
the one
that.
that runs in and saves the day. And she's the one that she's the hard nose that doesn't put up with, because the other side of me is super soft. I would never break up with anybody. I would never put anybody out of the community. Oh, just let her stay. She'll be better. But the hard nose is Shiro, that you either gonna get right or you gonna get left. And so that's
I
it. When
like
I put
that.
the glasses on, girl, I got to go to work.
That is
You make
great.
hard decisions.
You don't take those in the bedroom, do you?
Well, sometimes, but for other stuff.
We'll talk about that
I'm
another
reading,
time.
this is a good book. It's called Indistractable,
Okay, who wrote that one?
and it's by Nir Ayal.
Okay, yeah. Have you read that one?
I'm reading this one now, and it's really, really good for everybody reaches plateaus. I don't care how high you go, you will always reach this place where you feel that you can't go any higher or you're going to need something else to go higher. And there's really only two things that help you, and that's coaching and books.
Okay.
You got to get a coach that's going to, they say if you want to go somewhere, if you want to go fast, get a coach. If you want to go, get going. But if you want to go fast, get a coach. So that's coaching, and that's books. And I
And
tend to read about 100 plus books a year.
so a lot of have you ever subscribed to your own coach or mentor, or have you just always had, it sounds like you have a wonderful support group of your own women. You talked about your mom, your auntie, your great grandmother. It sounds like they were very much your coach growing up and gave you some strong fundamentals. But have you ever hired yourself a business coach,
Girl,
or
I
was this
keep a coach.
you do?
I don't understand coaches who don't subscribe to coaching.
Okay, so you do have your own coach.
I do, and I keep one. And I
Okay.
keep multiple types. I'm gonna keep a business coach. I'm gonna keep a marketing coach. I have a video coach. I have a health coach. I got a therapist. Girl, I be hiring people. I be needing help. I be needing help. And so I invest heavily in the things that I don't know and the support that I need. And I don't try to figure it out too long by myself. When
Okay.
we see how much money we left uh on the table with sales last year, we knew one of the first things we had to do was hire a sales team. You know, we why make 1.5 million when you can make 5? But you can't make 5 by yourself. You got to invest to bring somebody else on board. And then when we saw how much money we left on the table with social media, we said we got to get some VAs in here to run this social media. So why make 5 when you can make 10? And so we are always um, working the flywheel. But at the end of the day, I got to have people for me, people that I trust, people who've been there before me, people who are experts at what they do. We employ Right Click Digital Marketing. That's the digital marketing agency we use. We use BMX Marketing. They do all of our advertising. We just hired a professional sales team. We're bringing in a team of professional VAs. I mean, at some point, you got to say, am I running a business or am I running a corporation?
Yes. What advice would you give to the solopreneur who is very hands-on and maybe afraid of growth, or thinks nobody's going to do it the way that they do it? What advice would you give that person? Because I run into a lot of single, solopreneurs, let's just say, that for one reason or another, they don't know the next step to training a person or how to get that structure in place. What advice would you give that person?
Number one, they need to hire a coach. That's why they don't know. You don't know what you don't know, and you're never going to know. Within the essence of myself, how am I going to get it? Osmosis? How am I going to get it? Rub up next to somebody?
Yeah.
The things I don't know, if they're not introduced to me, we used to always compare it to a room full of kindergartners with no teacher. If it's never introduced to them, if nobody's there to teach them how to tie their shoes, how do they learn? If nobody's there to teach them their ABCs and how to read, how do they learn? So people want to take some of the hardest things in the world, like relationships, like building a business, and try to do it themselves. So sis, if it ain't been working for you, and all this time you ain't got no boo yet, go on and get you a little piece of relationship coach. It's okay to get help. Solve the problem. You're building this business. It's not generating revenue. Get you a coach. Solve the problem.
Have you worked with a relationship coach ever, or when you've gotten in your stickiness in your own partnership, or do you go to a coach for even those types of things?
Oh, absolutely, girl. Absolutely.
Okay.
I subscribe to help because if I could figure it out by myself, I would figure it out now. And I even have health coaches, girl, that ain't been able to crack the code yet, but it doesn't keep me from hiring them.
Sure.
If that makes sense what I'm saying, because at some point, this one didn't work. Okay, I'm not going to hire another one. No, that's still me fat. So at the end of the day, I got to say this one didn't work. Okay, let me hire another, because eventually you find somebody, whoever was designed for you, and they help you out. People say, well, I tried business coaching before and it didn't work. Well, if it didn't work, that's shame on you for not going back to the drawing board and trying again. That's like saying, I tried to date and it didn't work, I'm just going to stop dating. No.
You know how many times I hear that? There are no good men out there. Sorry. How would you tackle that statement? There are no good men out there. I've tried everything.
That they haven't. They have not. So you've hired a relationship coach. No, I've never done that. So you've tried going different places. No, have you tried working on yourself? No, I haven't done that. So the list of things they haven't tried probably outweighs the list of stuff that they've tried. If you keep going to that same boy, you're going to keep meeting that same dude over and over. It's just going to be different renditions of him. And until you change you and your expectations, you don't keep meeting Mr. Todd, that same Mr. Todd that cheats on you every time. Girl, it ain't him, it's you.
Well, I hear so much accountability, and hence the reason why you're a coach. Why is it that some people just are afraid of that accountability or don't like that accountability? How would you talk? I don't know. What's the question? Some people are not coachable. What needs to transform in that? Sometimes, you got to break up with your client, or you're working with someone and they're just not getting it. What do you think is happening in that moment with that person?
We really try very hard, and we even ask, are you coachable? And we give examples as to what coachability means. And so we try I can work with anybody other than people that's not coachable.
Right.
I can work with anybody other than somebody who knows it all. Because if you know it all, girl, keep your check. Don't hire me. Don't hire me. You know it all, girl. You don't need no help. And I would tell them that if I was you, I'd tell them, girl, take your lonely self on back out there, and your girl, just stay lonely, because that's what's going to happen if you don't listen to somebody. Right. And realizing that we are in these positions because we're professionals. We've seen 1,000 people like you. Right. I can't even enumerate the number of thousands and thousands and thousands of businesses I've touched. So you're not the first. Mm-hmm. People want to be this special snowflake. We call it special snowflake syndrome, where you've never seen a case like mine. Have you ever? Do they come to you like that?
Oh yeah. I mean, in the singles world, everybody's picky. I don't think one is picky. There are people that I can probably attest are pickier than the other, but certainly I've heard enough times, I'm a hard one. This is impossible. I don't know if you're going to be able to help me. So those are conversations that I've had for sure.
That's a special snowflake. Not realizing, girl, I helped 100 of you yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
we do this because we're good at what we do. It's like instinctual to a certain extent. It's intrinsic, and so it's part of who we are. But I don't know. I don't deal with people who are not coachable though, because that means they're not ready to. The first person that has to change
Mm.
before change happens, before you get that man, before you build a successful business, before any of that, the first person that has to change is you.
I love that. And we're just about to close. So, Coach Dawnielle, what are you up to? What are you most excited about? And how can everybody just get part of what you're up to? How do they reach you?
So we are most excited. We have a Pink and Paid conference coming up, and we're actually launching
I
a
love that.
yes, and we're actually going to be launching a platform for women of color to be able to advertise their products and services, and we're calling it Pink Wall Street because we want us to be so economically focused on that next level and also pouring into each other and pouring back into the community. So if you
Is
go
this a
to,
virtual event? Sorry,
it
go
is,
ahead. Okay.
girl, I'm not doing nothing. There ain't enough mask in America. So I talked to my team today. There's like, we doing a live event this year. I said, girl, no.
No.
COVID got me in the house. And so this is virtual, July 15th. I think the URL is www.buyblackandpink.com.
I'm going to put it down. Buy Black MP.
Buy Black and Pink.
Oh, buy Black and Pink. All one word.
All one
.com.
word,
Okay.
buyblackandpink.com. Because everybody's doing the Buy Black initiative. So we're saying, don't just buy Black. We're saying also patronize the Black and Pink, which are Black owned women businesses.
Okay, great. And that's what you're up to. And for coaching, you are how do women get a hold of you if they want you or your company to coach them?
They just go to my website, DawnielleWinningham.com. Super easy to find. You can Google me. You can find me on Instagram at wealth_speaker and on every
There
other
it is.
platform at wealth speaker no _. So I'm out there, girl. I'm around.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you all for participating and for sharing this hour with me of Lockdown Love. We had so much information, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.